All right, folks. Well, sadly, our first round opponent was a no-show. So I guess we'll have to see you round two. All right, here in round two, we're going to keep it. We're on the draw, and it is, in fact, a 5-lander, but we have both colors. We have a good 3-drop, a couple good 3-drops. More likely playing the Ruination Guide on turn 3, but I guess if our opponent plays something that I want to block with Invoker, I might do that. All right, well, looks like our opponent's going to draw a swamp next turn. Ooh, it's a spicy draw. All right. All right. Well, now I want to do Vile Aggregate into Incubator Drone into Ruination Guide, I think. Okay. He's got his 3/4, but we have a Vile Aggregate, so can at least block it. Guess if he attacks, I'm probably just going to take it. I don't want to lose my Vile Aggregate. I can afford to take 3 damage at the moment. All right. Looks like he's uninterested. Ooh. A little Sure Strike, huh? Well, it does present a challenge. Because I do want to get in. I also want to progress the board. He might not block if I attack. Problem is, it's also equally awkward if I think I actually just play Incubator Drone and pass. See, it's awkward if I attack for 1 and then post-combat play an Incubator Drone. Not that it's, like, horribly awkward. I think right now I'd just rather get a bunch of dudes on board. Because next turn I can play Ruination Guide plus play Sure Strike, which just seems insane. Didn't crack his Evolving Wilds, which is certainly interesting. Could have been a mistake. Spawning Bed looks nuts, just nutso right now with Vile Aggregate and on board and Ruination Guide in hand. All right. Opponent is still at 3 colors. I like the Converge deck, though. No plays. All right. Tidecaller. Pretty good. Let's go Ruination Guide. And we're just going to swing with the Vile Aggregate. I don't want to use Sure Strike unless I have to. Could just be Lithomancer's focus here, too. I feel like, see, the problem is if I attack with the Incubator Drone and the Scion, too, he just blocks the Incubator Drone. Then if he's got, like, a Gideon's Reproach or something, I lose too much value. Pretty good chance he's got a combat trick here, but hopefully it's not a Lithomancer's focus. Okay, just Reproach is good news. So we're going to let that resolve. And then we're going to sure strike here. And get just absurd amounts of value. Absolutely just absurd amounts of value. Okay. All right. Opponent finds his 4th color. So I think it would have made more sense if our opponent just, because it looked like he was planning on 2-for-1ing himself anyway. So he should have just let the stalwart damage resolve, because the aggregate would have trampled over anyway, and that actually would have prevented my sure strike from destroying him there. So I think we're just going to adverse conditions. It just seems so absurdly good on this board. Beast Caller Savant. And a Shadow Glider. Now, what do you do? I forget. Oh, yeah. The Ally Hasty Ramper. That guy's pretty good in a Converge deck. We do have Land Destruction. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it. But, I mean, he's running 4 colors. You have to assume his main colors are probably green and white, I assume. I mean, I can bring in Volcanic Upheavals. I don't know what I would take out for them. Like, especially considering Sure Strike played so well there. Titan's Presence seems worse against Tajuru's Stalwart, because I don't have a ton of guys that can kill it, just like the Behemoth and the Tyrant. Serpentine Spike, I mean, I think we're going to have to see more of our opponent's deck before we start making rash decisions. Volcanic Upheaval is certainly a consideration when you're dealing with at least a 4-color Converge deck. Like, possibly the argument taking out, like, Retreat to Valakut, but I haven't gotten a chance to try this card yet. I'm not in love with the Volcanic Upheaval plan against a Converge deck. I think there is a decent argument for it. We're already a little bit 4-drop heavy, too. Let's keep it the same again. I want to see how much Converge we're dealing with here. Yeah, we'll keep this. We're on the draw again. Certainly not an insane hand, but one that looks like could potentially get a lot better with a land drop or 2. Probably playing a turn 3 Tidecaller, depending on what our opponent plays. I feel like even if they play a Stalwart, I probably still play the Tidecaller. Yeah. All right. We're going to play Tidecaller. Obviously not as, unless we draw a red mana, that'd be nice. Spawning Bed, not quite. All right. Going to play the Tidecaller. Lets me potentially crack back. Obviously no value. Tidecaller is not the greatest, but it does give our Awaken cards flying. All right. Silent Skimmer. All right, found the red mana. This is probably the opportunity we need to play the Sentinel. Although, I guess it makes more sense to play the drone. Could also attack with the Tidecaller. But I think we're just going to play drone and pass. So I'm going to have to offer the double block, I think, to the Stalwart. I'm not in love with it. Next turn I can play Barrage Tyrant, though. Can't kill anything with it, though. But I guess we play it to offer trades with Stalwart at that point, which might be wise. Yeah, see, that tells me combat tricks. So take 5 here. I go to 12, which I also don't love. I think I'm going to accept it, though. I'm going to hopefully crack back here. Just seems a little bit too much like combat trick. Otherwise, that attack doesn't make too much sense. Otherwise, it's just not a good trade for my opponent. So I've just got the gut feeling that that's the thing we got to watch out for. But what can I do? I can play... Kind of want to draw another mountain, so I can play Sentinel and leave up Sure Strike. But I guess that still doesn't do much against the Reproach. Oh, another Stalwart. All right. Opponent's going deep and leaving up Reproach mana, which is really not what we wanted to see. Okay, did get another mountain, though, which is nice. Let's see here. So Reproach mana is up. What does that tell me? I think we're just gonna... What does that tell me? All right, let's play another Incubator Drone. And now we can triple block a Stalwart. So as long as my opponent doesn't have 2 combat tricks, we should be okay. We can also use Sure Strike if we have to, which I think is beneficial here. We're going to have to find a way to deal with Silent Skimmer at some point, but we've got some time. So the plan is triple block a Stalwart, which plays around Reproach, which we know our opponent has in their deck and almost assuredly has in their hand. Still going super deep. All right. So the plan now is triple block a Stalwart and chump block this Stalwart. This could work out well, depending. I would like to sack the Scion that's chumping so I could play Sure Strike and possibly save all my guys, but it's almost a sure thing that our opponent has Gideon's Reproach. Interesting that they would order it like that. Not exactly sure why. Wow, that's a lot of Chijuru Stalwarts. Another mountain. So I could play Sentinel plus Barrage Tyrant. Could also play... I would have to sack my Scion to do that, which I don't love. Could also play Barrage Tyrant, leaving up Sure Strike, which I'm not sure is useful enough. All right, I think the plan is play Barrage Tyrant, leave up Sure Strike. And then we're going to double block it to Drew Stalwart, and then when he casts Reproach, we can Sure Strike. So I think the plan is double block, and then I think we're going to have to block here too. Another thing I could do is... No, I think we have to do it like this. I was thinking I could double block plus chump here, and then maybe he reproaches one of these, and then I can protect it, but I'd rather him reproach one of these. Tandem tactics, I see. Yeah, it's pretty problematic. So now we're pretty much banking on... Yeah, we're in some trouble. Well, actually, it's not the worst. So I guess we basically have to hope our opponent doesn't have reproach here, or we are, in fact, in pretty serious trouble. But I think it's worth trying. All right. Well, could have been worse. Basically, trade a Tidecaller and a Sure Strike for a Stalwart and a Tandem Tactics, which is not the worst trade, as it turns out. Okay. So, I think we got to start smashing now. We only have a 2-turn clock, unfortunately. Would like a Clutch of Currents. Set back the... that's actually not a bad draw either. So I guess we smash for 7. Play a Sentinel plus a Vestige. I can also... Yeah, it's not bad either. I think we'd rather extend our clock since... Okay, so... Okay. I think I know what I'm doing here. We're gonna swing with the... We're gonna swing with both. We're gonna play the Vestige. And we're gonna toss this Incubator Drone at Shadow Glider during our opponent's turn. Basically so Silent Skimmer is on a 4-turn clock. We need to buy some time here. We're definitely on the receiving end of some damage at the moment. But the nice thing is Vestige can at least block the Stalwart. And we are smashing with Barrage Tyrant, which is at least doing some work for us. Okay. It's equal to power, right? Yeah. So we're going to lose out on some incubator drone beats, but that's just going to have to be the way it is. Okay, so we'll let that resolve. Right, move to block step, no blocks. We want to wait as long as possible to use the barrage tyrant. Okay, so we'll choose this, and we'll sack that. All right, not the worst. Ooh, Ruination Guy's a great draw there. Yeah, that's nice. So let's play Ruination Guide. Gonna smash with Vestige. Okay. Follow up with a Kozilek Sentinel. Granted, that puts us at a bit of a risk since we are going to 4 life from at least the Silent Skimmer, but it gives us a blocker for his Stalwart, so I think it's a pretty important play. It also puts a tremendous amount of pressure on our opponent for next turn. We still have the protection from Silent Skimmer if we just toss a Vestige at it. I mean, we also have lethal at this point if I just toss a Vestige at it. Like, if he attacks with Skimmer, we throw a Vestige at Stalwart, and we get in for 11. That's assuming he doesn't have any play, which seems unlikely. Still attacking with the Skimmer, which is pretty bold. Seems like a decent chance he's got something here. No play. Now that's curious. So I feel like I should... Well, that's interesting. I think that we play this safe. Now, the way to play this safe is smash. So I could go for the win right now. It just seems unlikely that my opponent has nothing. It seems more likely my opponent's got Gideon's Approach. So let's play this safe. The safe way to play this is we smash with a Vestige. And yes, I understand I could go for the win, but it seems dangerous. I feel like there is something that could happen that I can't predict. So why not just play it safe since we're mostly out of harm's way? In fact, if my opponent takes this damage, they're just dead. Okay, so my opponent probably would have gotten Barrage Tyrant pretty good there. So what's the play instead? I think that since we've got such a good late game thing going here, we just kill Silent Skimmer. Yeah, and then leave up our play Coral Home Guide. Yeah, that's fine actually. So take out the Skimmer. I could also take out the Stalwart, but kind of like taking out the Skimmer more. Then we play Coral Home Guide and pass. And our opponent is definitely in some trouble at that point. Okay, Courier Griffin. So we have the out to that as well. Granted, we'd have to throw a Ruination Guide at it, but that is not the end-all be-all. I'm trying to think how else I could do it. Maybe if I draw Colorless Spell, that would also help. I did draw one. So I could technically pump Sentinel. I've got some plays here. I've got some plays. Taking out the flyer seems most important. All right, I think we just play Nettle Drone. Pump Sentinel. Unfortunately, Sentinel is more important than the Nettle Drone right now, so I think we just pass the turn. I may take the damage from Courier Griffin since I feel like could possibly win the next turn, maybe? It's tough to say if I can win. I think I can, though. For example, I take Courier Griffin. I throw a Nettle Drone at a Stalwart. I throw a Sentinel at a Gnarlid, and then I attack for 11, but that's not lethal. But I don't know if it has to be lethal, because then I can just throw a Ruination Guide post-combat, right? So yeah. Attacks with Griffin. I go to 2. I throw a Nettle Drone at a Stalwart. My turn. I throw a Sentinel at a Gnarlid. I attack for 11. I throw a Ruination Guide at face. That seems like it works. Okay, so we're taking Griffin. He's only got 1 card in hand, so let's hope it's not a reproach. Okay, so throw Nettle Drone at Stalwart. Could I have just thrown that at him? 4, 7, 9, make unblockable. No, I don't have enough mana to do that. I don't think. I mean, I still can play it safe. Right? Yeah. I guess I can just swing everything. Yeah, that's pretty safe, actually. If he reproaches Barrage Tyrant, I just kill his 2 guys. That seems fine. Although, all right. Well, guess we don't let him draw. So let's just kill Griffin now since we have to. Or wait. I can't throw lethal at him, can I? Good chance our opponent's dead next turn. All right. Ended up getting the match. I can't tell you if I did that the best way possible, but I feel like I played around things relatively well. So a lot of opponent's deck was excellent. A lot of Tajuru Stalwarts. It's a good converge build. He consistently had turn 3 Tajuru Stalwart in both games, so I'm glad that our deck could overcome that. Barrage Tyrant, obvious MVP of this game. Vile Aggregate MVP of game 1, so good archetypal cards taking us to victory. We'll see you in round 3.